Hello, my name is Nancy Cool. I'm the curator of poetry for the Yale Collection of American Literature at the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale University. I'm delighted to welcome you to the 2020 Yale College Poets Reading. This event is co-sponsored by the Creative Writing Program of the English Department, and I am deeply grateful to my faculty collaborators in that program. I'd like also to extend thanks to my Beinecke colleagues, Michael Miranda and Tobias Cropper, both of whom worked very hard to make this event possible. The Beinecke Library is much more than a research institution. It's also a center for the living art of American poetry, and it's at the heart of Yale's creative writing community. Today's event is in part a celebration of that dynamic and engaging community, and the fact that we're meeting virtually is a reminder that ours is an international community with writers and readers all over the world. But today's event is first and foremost a celebration of the bright and inspiring poets whose work you're about to hear. I'm delighted to introduce the 2020 Yale College Poets.
My name is Olivia Belliveau, and I'm going to read two poems. The first is called Bond's Dock. The boats are all asleep. There's a knot in your heart, and we haven't cut your hair yet, but we will soon. You only say what you mean with both feet in the water. You loved a girl who couldn't swim. I imagine her between us now, two lovely ankles bumping ours like nudging fish. In the parking lot behind us, an exchange of vices. The air between car windows grows heavy. I look at you in profile, looking at your feet. Water returns the sky, and I remember the two of you in the sand loving, and I was loving the two of you. Tonight I want you to name the knot, indict it. Instead you list all the times she was ever quiet, kissing your nose, wrapping herself small on your kitchen floor. You were gifted muscle, straining deftly under your skin, and I think of the one straining thick and dumb behind ribs. When your chest is heavy, you climb until the air is thinner going in, mountains or walls. Sitting here must be low to you. We sit so long on the bumbling dock, my skin forgets the water. I wonder how long it would take you to swim across the river, to beg for air on the opposite bank, to watch the houses losing their window lights, one by one, like loose teeth. January sunset. We wanted desperately to find the sea, to shape a boat from winter-hardened sand and earn our north before it crumbled. We wanted castles we could mold with our hands and live in. We wanted more pink, skin pink, lung pink, voices pink with sea breeze of slipping sun. To build a fortress of shoulders guarding at its center the pearl of getting warm. We wanted seconds taffy stretched and packed neat, to see only smears of each other described in pink and gold. We wanted a promise and couldn't find the oyster to lend it. So we left our clothes and ran, the ice of sea softening just enough to admit us. Then, muscles pulled close against the lesson. We no longer wanted this. The water, knowing, spat us out. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is T.C. Martin, and today I'll be reading two poems. The first poem is titled Loose and was written after William Shakespeare's The Comedy of Errors. Marry me, marry me, marry me, Dromio. My besides body, embellished with grease, room, barrenness, a doomsday body. Mend me, measure me, my fat, all my fat, my not fault, my armed armados of hip, carbuncles, buttocks, forehead, hand, breast, curdle, diviner creature. An America in me, wondrous globe wench, without head heart, all ballast. Speak about the countries in me. What Indies? Where France? Why Netherlands? Of my luck, for Sir Reverence breadth, very, very for you. of myself. Bog's beast of Belgia haunts from drudge to claim her kitchen and the flood of myself. I. The second poem is titled Hippolyta and was written after William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. With the silliest silver skies, our solemnities, our nuptial hour seemed gallant, new-bent, worthier. Before constancy, mutual dream, duty, chance, days. Gone is my region. With Theseus' strange change, hounds in night, I behold, I bear, I come, Hippolyta. I am away, aweary and brief. I steep my love in moonshine, beshrew it with transfigured prologue, such that come, my Hippolyta, images to nothing. Sparta, Cadmus, Hercules, Crete, finds of a government howsoever sweet, I abjure forever the society of fountains. I do not bow, but to the moon, 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 thunder, and moon. Thank you.
My name is Esther Ritchin, coming to you from this version of the Beinecke Library. Rats. The madness of it, Miss Dickinson. Star Atlas, Charles Simic. I too can see a graveyard from my window. I sit on my desk, legs slanted out the window, feet firmly planted in what I call a balcony, and an architect calls a gutter, but really what's a gutter but a balcony for rats? I too don't think of death as destruction. You and I sit affably in agony, getting high to drop embers off the edge and watch them flicker down. We're all rats up here, till the rain makes my balcony a shipyard. I too perch in possibility. Up here we're stone, or we're embers ourselves, and down there the passers-by laugh, and the sky cracks at the sound, and maybe someone looks up, and maybe someone gets high. My mind is going numb too, Miss Dickinson. Reflections. You have 4 sharpened pencils and a mug on your desk that stay there because you always use a fountain pen instead, and so I call you obnoxious. I am in love with you, and I will never tell you that again, and that is how I want to love you. You tell me that doing cocaine is bad because it contributes to mass murder and the destruction of countries. We are talking about this because yesterday, Ronan and I walked in on people doing cocaine upstairs at a party. He nodded to them, and we backed out of the room and went downstairs and danced until I felt parts of my shirt start to stick with sweat, and then we danced more. I'm in love with him too, but not in the way in which I am in love with you. I'm in love with him in the way in which I'm in love with wind that tangles my hair, or blackjack, or trees with the bark peeled off. I'm in love with you in the way I'm in love with the hour I forfeit every year to save daylight, and that same hour which returns to me in spring, or the type of sunset where half the sky's on fire and half is a gentle pink, or jet black ink just before it dries. Last night, Ronan and I danced, and the basement was so low that his hands hit the ceiling, but he forgot every time and smudged the plaster with his fingertips over and over. Zach was there, in the other room, loudly agreeing with other boys about politics because to him that is more fun than dancing. I think I am in love with Zach in the way in which I am in love with hot pink clothing or raw cookie dough, or the way my frayed phone charger hasn't broken yet, and not the way I am in love with you. Last night, you were with your family at some rented house in New England. They flew in, and the flight takes just less than a day, and you love them with an intensity that is so quiet I forget it. And then I remember our first year when you brought your luggage to our last test so you could catch the shuttle that left an hour before our test was scheduled to end. I did not say goodbye to you. I was still taking the test. I had known you for 5 months then. You have 4 sharpened pencils and a mug on your desk, and you take the curtains off the window because you like to wake to light, and you know which cardinal direction you're facing, and you're thinking of growing your hair out, and the face you make when you're drunk looks almost like Mick Jagger, and you are a boy who owns a suit that fits you, and that was the first thing I knew about you, and you love with a quiet intensity, and that is what I know about you now.
Hi everyone, my name's Patrick. My first piece is called North Sea Skiermonikoog. Around us stood a nature full of nods or wings towards something that countered its peace. Slow mechanic careen of a grazing horse's head, wings of an egret spread and frozen as if pulled by invisible string. Bare trees asleep in early spring, nests like blurred black hives. The bridge, where Ty said last year he came across a husband pulling his wife from the creek where she had fallen, lamenting the loss of his camera that fell in the water too. Ground littered with clover heads, a few narcissus poking up their funny orange crowns, ocean birds landing across a lineless blanket of wild grass, gray, green, and yellow tangle of the salt marsh. At its end, a curling footpath of mussel shell bits, snaking to the beach then back into town. And at the next junction, a path to a cemetery for sailors whose bodies over the years had washed ashore. Their gold earrings, Tice told us, worn as compensation for those who found and buried them. And my other piece is called City Woods. Biked through the park toward the middle where they keep the animals, stopping first to sit on a wide grassy lawn, dreamlike, like where you dry off after baptism. And we lay, listening to music. Olivia's snake tattoo was healing nicely, she showed Joe and me. Then at the center of the park, a break in the woods, and a wooden barn, and countless goats, the two men who tended them and gave them their feed, who later attached the milking apparatuses, the goats staring blankly in their places and the men doing the same. I wondered where they went on weekends and who had taught them to tend livestock. Found brief answers and then we were gone, and our questions shifted to small ones about irregular patches of sun carved by white poplar branches along the path back to where the park emptied its mouth to the street, and how the light made the air hazy, and how the light continued its fall onto Joe's hair and Olivia's hair while they rode close in front of me, and probably onto the farmhands' heads too, and onto those of the animals when brought out from their shelter to graze. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tiana, and I am an English and Sociology double major and a senior in Ezra Styles. Today I will be reading my poem, A Family Recipes That Cannot Be Followed, written down. To make jasmine tea, you need 9 days and nights, a wide mouse jar, and the stillness in the silent hours, long after dusk and the arid heat of the afternoon. As you look at the line of moonlight on the wall, think, isn't it strange how until last night you didn't notice the cracks in the double-layered teacups Papa set out for you? The nice ones that do not burn your knuckles. The tea that always cools on your tongue. You must remember that you are drinking jasmine tea. Every cup might taste a little different, but the tea has not spoiled, nor has your mind done that curious thing of imagining troubles. The flower scent changes with the season. You learn this when you wake at dawn and go yawning still to watch Papa cradle the just opened blossoms in his heavy hand. Inhale when he holds them under your nose. Accepts them into your own delicate fingers when he offers. You must raise the white flowers beneath layers of green tea leaves before violet tints the place where the petals meet. Bury them in a wide mouse jar you buy just for this. Mama will say there are too many at home, that the jars for pickling work perfectly fine, but Papa will insist because this is nothing else. When you have your jar and it is boiled clean, when it is dry, after the first layer of blossoms is underneath the first layer of leaves and a day has passed, repeat 8 more times, starting from dawn. On the 9th day, wait for Papa to pick out shriveled jasmine, then toss tea leaves into the teapot. Warm the kettle and sit on the edge of the kitchen chair as he pours. Fragrant tea brushes the brims of 2 cups. When he offers one to you, sip long and do not interrupt him. After the silence, he will begin to tell you of his years in Singapore, the white snake he saw near Crimpsare, of how his love for abalone and shrimp grew during his weeks by the sea. When the water in the kettle is gone, Papa will reach for a bottle of rice vinegar and, with a steady hand, pour you a spoonful to drink plain.
Hello, my name is Maslen Bode. The rodeo. A horse breaks its leg, bucking its rider on the 4th of July. White men in cowboy hats swarm the chute, scattering when it opens. The horse flies into the sky. The skin on its rear threatens to rupture. It can hardly hold this energy, muscles twitching like atoms when they bind and break apart to bind again. My ankles flick, thighs tense, neck swinging as I dip into a tango with the horse. But I feel no pain when the horse breaks its leg. My eyes are tied to the rider, bouncing like a doll, desperate to maintain control. Like my mother, leaning over the side of the Grand Canyon, desperate to capture the sunset. I am terrified she will fall off the edge, chasing a view. Why would you die to conquer what is already yours? The cowboy limps away triumphantly when the horse breaks its leg. Men ready to put its body into a special ambulance. I want to describe this pudding, but I don't remember if I bothered to watch or whether Mom told me they would shoot it. I never could confront the damaged bodies of the half-dead trout at the hatchery, 1 foot in front of the other, down the side of the concrete raceway, my net scooping floating fish. Then a fish near death turns on its side, towards me, pleading, so I scoop it too. Grab it by the tail and slap its head against the concrete, a coworker tells me, because it's cruel to let a half-alive fish suffocate in a bucket next to dead ones. A slap is too close, so I place the fish at my feet and bring a garden hoe down on its head. It takes 5 or 6 times, and the fish might still be moving, but I put it in the bucket for the other dead fish to confront. I remember this pudding. My eyes leave the cowboy hats as a girl in pink boots walks by, holding a red balloon that tugs softly towards the moon. I want to celebrate the 4th of July with balloons, not rodeos, the joy of containment and nothing to put away. The last rodeo event is calf dressing. Women chase a calf around the stadium like cans tied to a newlywed's bumper. They wrestle it to the ground, distort its limbs into sleeves, cage a body with a t-shirt. I want to laugh, but my elbows are bending in ways they shouldn't. Tonight, we'll continue celebrating in my uncle's backyard. Buckets of water from the creek will sit next to fireworks he smuggled over state lines. My mom, camera ready like a net, will miss when he lights one, and I'll fly into the sky, claiming it for a moment, red and white and blue flickering below the stars. I walk out of the rodeo staring down at my cowboy boots. They're all that's left between me and the cracked ground, damp with spilled beer. A man strolling behind me says, "I like your boots," and then they are no longer mine. What is more American than a white woman in cowboy boots walking away from a dead horse? Perhaps a daughter standing yards away from a canyon's edge, ashamed of her mother's impulse because she knows it is her own. Thank you.
My name is Karina Z. Can you tell me about the mountains? I was whisked away to the monastery in the mountains, back in the Cultural Revolution, in the village of Suiji, in the province of Fujian. I was only 8, but I was real. I was a phenomenon. I memorized the prayers for after waking and before sleeping, built them up like Legos, first the words, then sentences, paragraphs. How long were you there? 8 months. What was it like? When you are a true Buddhist, everything is empty. The material world is nothing. Only spirituality is left, and wealth and even family are nothing. This is why, when the government found out I was too little to be a monk, I felt nothing. When the authorities stole me away back home, I felt nothing. And you need to be strong enough, support yourself. When my mother and my father back home left me for the next temple, I felt nothing. I couldn't. And the stars? I would look at the stars, sleep on the floor in the evening, sit in the courtyard, look up at the sky, dreaming, what's there? Who's out there? Who am I? Escaping reality. How did you come here? My father brought me here. I thanked him. For what? He helped me escape. And the stars? I tried to read poems, daydreaming a little every day. I wanted to live in my own world, but knew I had to survive. Because life can be so terrible, because maybe your parents, your siblings die. I was the only legal immigrant in a building of people who didn't belong. I sing like a music box, and I start wondering, will my kids forget? And if they forget, will it be in pieces like me? Or how much will there be left? The notes drift in and take me back to the time in the car. Yet yan yao yet go mong sung. Everyone has a dream, she continues. Learn yan yi ngoi wei sao sung. Two people in love will ultimately hurt each other, she continues. Some yan yao some. What's the next line again? Something, someone, somewhere knows those lyrics. Everyone, you and me. But yet yun means one person. Yet means one. Learn means two. Sam means three. 1, 2, 3. If I sing out loud, I can get the rest across. Sam yan yao sam yang tong fu. 3 people in love, each have their own bitterness. And that's not it. Not quite it. My mom must have been younger when she first listened to Vivian Leigh's Everybody Has a Dream. I wonder if she was following her own dream. I wonder if she played it over and over. I wonder if she knew she would pass the song to me. I know, every generation is different. But something at least to hold tight to. There is something I've lost by living here. It comes back as a memory of something I can't have. And I think the sadness comes from hearing a voice so familiar, could be my mom's brother. What's the next line again?